10 signs he is using you for his benefit. Love is supposed to drain away all the negativity and loneliness out of our lives. We try every single thing possible under the shades of the blue sky to win their heart over, win their trust over, and win them over. But sometimes, the efforts only seem lopsided. Sometimes, there's this idea piling at the top of our head indicating that they aren't who they pretend to be. It appears as if they're hiding behind a balaclava and using you. We feel as if our emotions are being devalued. Our heart tries to signal towards something, but we neglect it and try to feel better, only to end up being hurt eventually. As hurtful as it may sound, we all get used or tend to use someone, knowingly or unknowingly, which wholly depends on our initial intentions, at least once in our lives. When it comes to the game of hearts, there is no innocent one in that game of two. Ugh. I'm so sick of such kind of men. Do you feel the same way? Ever heard of players, ladies? That's them. Please, for goodness sake, don't come to a conclusion that I'm a man-hater. My opinions are merely based on personal experiences. Anyways, have you been wondering if the man you're currently seeing is a player and is using you just to satisfy his needs? If so, I have a list of 10 crucial signs that he is using you. Make sure that you neglect none, and please do lean on. He only talks about the deed. He doesn't care if you're starving or your child is crying, or you're having a bad day. He doesn't even bother to ask or care about what and how you're doing. He never comes up with the idea of a romantic meetup. If anything, he is just interested in having sex, whenever, wherever. This is a major sign that he is using you. Also, if you're in an online relationship or what they call to be a virtual relationship, he constantly asks you to send your pictures. He may be asking for a decent picture. You might say, well, since you're already dating, you might as well be connected on all social networks, be it Facebook, Instagram or Snapchat. That's where you post thousands and thousands of pictures. He could see them from there. Don't you think? That send me a pic message implies that he is asking for some nudes and pressurizing you to flash your assets. If you're just about to hit the send button, then stop and question yourself with a, what am I doing? First, these conducts, or let's say, misconducts, are screaming out loud that he is a FCK boy and he is effing with you for sure. He doesn't want you to meet anyone special in his life. He seems to be preaching about things, has you from the start, sugarcoats stuff and pretends to be the nicest of them all. But something seems to cut off the wire in your heart because it doesn't seem to be picture perfect at all. Regardless of how nice he might try to act, he seems to not want other people in his life to know you. At times, it might even look as if he is embarrassed of you or of being seen around with you. This is another important sign that he is using you for his benefits. You might not get a text from him until the 11th hour of the night asking for a random hookup. You might only receive his phone calls when the sun goes down. If that's the case, remember girls, anything said or done or asked after 12 is a booty call, and sadly, he is playing with your heart and apparently, with your body too. He never wants to pay for anything. Since we are the 21st century women, we like leading an independent life. Of them all, we enjoy our financial independence. But sometimes, when a man shows a lovable and adorable gesture by caring to pay for something that we need, then it makes us feel special. We feel loved. But some 21st century men act like a complete menace. We have to take care of all their finances, even the tiniest ones like paying their car parking bills. Whether it be eating at a restaurant, or buying a piece of clothing, he is always asking for your help. The case is different if he genuinely needs it, but asking someone else to pay for every single thing is insanely crazy. This is a major sign that he is using you for money. Ladies, it's time to sing the JLO anthem "Ain't Your Mama" and move on in life, because he, for sure, is using you for his own benefits. 4. You have a gut feeling that he is using you. Remember the times when you were intuitive of someone being a crazy bitch, and that's exactly how they turned out to be? See, intuitions aren't deceitful at all. The entirety of humanity would let you down, but gut feeling would never do so. Even after all this time of being in a relationship, you still have the unanswered voice in your head telling you that you're being played with, then it might be so. The voice might get louder every day and your core might start churning with dread. If it's relatable to you, trust your intuitions and move on. Who knows? He could be a psycho planning to use you and then rip your heart out? Sounds scary. He never replies to your phone calls, texts. To begin with, the points that I'm about to mention won't stand valid if he is genuinely busy and you are aware of his schedule. But in all other cases, have you been saying hello from the other side and he doesn't seem to answer in forever? However, in the meanwhile, he might be posting status on Facebook, pictures on Instagram or sending tweets on Twitter, but doesn't write or call you back. Girls, take it as a ginormous hint. Sometimes, we feel devoid of love and some random guy comes and starts feeding us with all the things we want to hear. We tend to buy his BS. We become naive and we seek for attention and love, but in that process, we seem to ignore the fact that we are being used or abused, physically or emotionally, or both. Even if loneliness is your biggest fear, pick your head up, put your pride aside and step out of it. You're better off without him. You're always talking or meeting up as per his convenience terms. As previously mentioned, move to the next point if he has a set schedule that you are aware of, and he is fiercely busy. Well, it all seems so lavish until after some time, you start feeling as if you are doing everything possible to keep up with him, but he seems to be reckless as shit. You might come into believing that you are the only person who does him favors, but he never seems to care about you. It's not that you even need a favor, but who minds getting the extra care and attention? There might come a point when you start wondering that he is never supportive of you when you are feeling low. It may look as if he doesn't care at all about how you're doing. Even friends ask friends if they're doing well. He is much more than that, but he doesn't seem to mentally support you at all. If you are going through a similar situation, keep your self-worth pretty darn high and ask him to shove his reckless attitude right up his, you know where. You are casually hooking up, but your relationship doesn't have a label. How simple and easy peasy would things look if they termed your relationship as a relationship, instead of drawing back every time when the topic comes, and making it look like a relationship? Is he one of the kind to flinch back when you put up a, "What are we?" question in his table? He might start rambling or stuttering, or even worse, might start beating about the bush. He might hit you with a "let's go with the flow" statement every time the topic comes up. This is an important sign that he is using you for his benefits. Girls, if you are not getting a clear-cut answer, then it's time to step out from the chains of the demon. Please consider my advice. They force a relationship with you when you try to move on with someone else. You know how some men come up with a "you're mine but I'm not yours" got that sort of behavior? Well, actions do speak louder than words. He might neglect you the entire time whilst you're with him, but might seem to pull off a different stunt when you try to move on with somebody else. Well, he might initially tell you that he doesn't want to get into a relationship with you, but then later try to persuade you into not moving on. He might even go on rambling about how attached he thinks he is to you. That's where things seem to be messed up. Or else, you might try to move on because of the missing label in your affair, but then he tries to randomly flirt with you, making it even harder to move on. Well, how about hitting him up instead with a "if you don't want me, let me go and please kindly piss off. Thank you very much" statement? He disappears for months and hits you up months later. If he goes missing for ages and ages after he pops up randomly telling that he misses you, then you'd be naive not to smell something fishy in his intentions. It's likely that he might have been eyeing on someone else all the while, but then they rejected him. So, he might have come back to find a replacement in you. You might have gotten enraged because of his actions and might have conveyed the message to him. He might apologize and put up a changed behavioral display for a while, but then, soon after, he starts acting like the same old jerk again. What a doltish stranger. Don't trust him ever again, girls. You are a bomb-ass person. Don't let anyone question your self-worth. He never wants to go out with you. You might sneak into his house or he might into yours. This cycle might seem to be endless. Has it appeared that he never comes up with any other plan? You either fall asleep being bored to death or you lay around the house all day doing absolutely nothing. Do you really think someone can be unromantic to that extent? Oh, please. Even the most unromantic person on earth would get bored to the core laying around behind the closed doors all day long and insist upon going out. It's not that he is busier than some president of America to not have some spare time in his calendar ever to ask you out. Girls, could it be any more obvious? He is certainly playing you like a fiddle. My verdict? Opt out when you can.